We'll start with okay.
21st of April, Rabbi Furst, Parsha Hashavua, Tazria, Mitzura.
Okay. Thank you, Lou. Again, good morning. This is Rabbi Shmuel Furst here. You see with someone now. She here. I'm here at Zoom. This is Parsha Tazria Mitzura, Erev Shabbos, Tavshin Pei Gimel. So we're going to start with the beginning of Parsha Tazria. Very important Rashi. Let's take a look at that.
By the way, last Shabbos, I shared with the table what we had learned, and it went very well. And I told my wife that I had asked you at the end of this year, what can I say at the table, and you had kind of given me a summary of the what the discussion. And she said, "Oh, you ask him to do that every time."
Okay, it's putting me on the spot, but that's I guess that's what I'm asking for. All right, very good. I'm very happy to know. Thank you for the positive news and feedback. Thank you very much. Okay, I see Roy's joining us as well. Roy, we don't you coming in?
I think he's coming in. He's not muted. Now he's muted.
Okay. Let's take the we'll see the first psukim in Parshas Tazria, Pasuk Aleph, Yud Beis, chapter Yud Beis, Pasuk Aleph and Beis. Then we'll see the Rashi. That's what we're going to focus on is the Rashi here.
Okay. By Deber Hashem El Moshe Lemor, Deber El Bnei Yisrael Lemor, Asher Ki Tazria V'Yalda Zachar Tam'a Shiv'as Yamim Timei Nidas Dosa Titma. So Hashem spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, saying, when a woman conceives and gives birth to a male, she shall be tamei for a 7-day period, as during the days of her nida, her menstruation, she shall be tamei."
Right. Okay. Let's look at the Rashi.
Okay. When a woman conceives, Rab Simlai said, just as the fashioning of man came after all cattle, beasts, and fowl in the Torah's account of the act of creation, so is his law explained after the law of cattle and beast and fowl. So I guess if you're putting it in context, we're saying that the discussion of a woman giving birth is an account of the laws of human beings.
Right. These are laws which are relevant now to human beings, whereas the end of in Parsha Shmini, right?
Yeah.
Parsha Shmini. If you remember, that's where it was listing all the the animals which were Tameh or Tor, right?
Right.
So here we're listing laws which are relevant to human beings, well, not human beings, but Jewish people being Tamei or Torah as well.
Okay, and this is only applicable to a Jewish woman.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, good morning, Rabbi Furst.
Good morning, good Chodesh. How are you?
Oh, good Chodesh Tov, yeah.
That's right.
Guten Chodesh zum Ziel und deiner Familie. I forgot this is Friday. I have to go and get, I took from the, what's this on there?
Okay.
Material. So I'll go get mine.
Okay, continuing with Rashi, let's see, when a woman conceives.
Okay, well, actually, yeah, so that's really the primary point that I want to speak about on this Rashi right now at this point.
Okay.
So the Rashi here, it's really not something to do with the actual shot in the pasuk. It's just basically Rashi's telling you the coordination of this pasuk in relation to the previous parsha, where all the animals which were permissible to you, the ones which were tohar, the ones which were forbidden to you, the ones which were tamei, those were listed in the previous parsha, and now there are various different laws which are relevant to Mentara, those things which are pure and unpure when it comes to Jewish law. So Rashi is explaining why the laws of Tum and Tahara, which are relevant to people, come after the law of those which things are relevant to animals.
Excuse me, can I ask you please where we are?
Right. We're in the beginning of Parshas Tazria. The Rashi, first part of the Rashi on Pasuk Beis. You want to read it over? You could read it over to yourself or out loud for
Yes.
all of us.
I'll catch up with you.
Yeah.
Good base. Oh, sorry. Tazria. I don't know where we are. I'm sorry.
Tazria.
Yeah.
Right. Chapter Yud Beis 12.
Yes.
Pasuk Beis, the second
Sorry.
Pasuk Beis.
Right, so gotcha. Let me see. Right, okay.
So Rashi here, you see the Rashi's comment?
Not yet, 44, that's nice. How to find it between animals that may be eaten. Oh, here we are. But if a woman had conceived a seed,
Right. You see Rashi's comment about the Maisa Bereshis. The very beginning part of the Rashi in the second pasuk Beis.
yeah,
Rashi's comment.
oh, this.
Rashi says, I'm a Rav Simloi. You see that in your text? I'm a Rav Simloi.
But 12:1, I can't find 2.
Well, it should be there. The second,
We've got 7, 1, 7. Where's 2? Can't see. As in the case of the separation,
right,
purity shall become unclean.
Right.
Which posuk is that?
That's
it's
two,
really the
that's pasuk 2, that's our pasuk.
right. It's the
Is that
second,
posuk 2, is it?
that's right.
As in the days of the separation for her impurity, she shall become unclean. Is that,
Right.
that
Go
posuk?
ahead.
That's not what. The layout here is difficult.
Mhm.
Well, I'm sorry. Just continue the shir and I'll.
Okay, look, maybe just let's reread the Rashi there.
When a woman conceives, Rabbi Simlai said, just as the fashioning of man came after all cattle, beasts, and fowl in the Torah's account of the acts of creation, so is his law explained after the law of cattle, beasts, and fowl. My footnote references Vayikra Rabbah 14:1.
Okay, what does it say there?
You want me to get that? Vayikra Rabbah?
Um,
I have it.
okay, if you have it, that's good.
Hold on a second, I'll get it.
Right. Okay. I've got yeah. No wonder I was. They've the editors have made 12:1 what should be 12:2.
Ah, okay.
What or have I? Yeah. So if a woman have conceived seed is 12:2, isn't it?
Right.
Right. Well, it's got here 12:1.
Ah, that would throw you off. I understand.
Yeah, and I couldn't find 2. Well, I don't know. I can't see where 3 is. The very next number I can find is 7.
That's interesting. Seems to be a little bit off. I'm not sure.
Oh well.
Okay.
Because I did that because I knew I'd come late today and have difficulty and annoy everybody.
Okay.
I just got in from shul.
Yeah, well, we're a little bit late today, right?
All right, I have Vayikra Rabbah. If a woman produce offspring, etc., this is alluded to in what is written. Thou hast formed for me something behind and something before. Rabbi Yochanan said, if a man merits it, he inherits 2 worlds, this and the world and the coming world. This doesn't seem to be relevant to what we're talking about. And it talks about the first man was a hermaphrodite. Uh, 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 Yeah, I don't see the relevance of this.
Okay. This. Right, so let's okay, so let's leave that then.
Yeah,
Okay, so let me just get, I need the Chumash Rashis, 1 second. So, so Rashi's pointing out that there's a parallelism between the formation of man in the sequence of the Torah's narrative of Maaseh Bereshis to the corresponding laws as they were listed here in the Torah. So just as the animals were created before Adam, and Adam was created last, so likewise the laws of the animals come first, and then the laws of that are pertinent to people come afterwards.
right.
Now, 1 second.
So we're referencing in Bereshit somewhere, are we?
Yeah, 1 second. I'm just gonna get that here.
Ah.
Hold on. Yeah, if you want, take a look at in Bereshis, Pasuk, and that would be in Perik Bays, Pasuk, um, Pasuk, Yud Tes, Pasuk Yud Tes. Or Yud Tes, Yud Tes, yeah. Perik Bays, chapter 2, Pasuk Yud Tes to start with.
It's Hashem, God said, "It is not good that man be alone. I will make him a helper against him." And Hashem, God, formed out of the ground every beast of the field and every bird of the sky, and brought them to the man to see what he would call each one. Whatever the man would call to a living soul is its name. And the man assigned names to all the cattle and to the birds of the sky and to every beast of the field. But as for man, he did not find a helper against him.
Responding to him. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
You
Brett, I
know-
didn't hear you.
Mhm.
So God cast a deep sleep upon the man, and he slept, and he took one of his sides, and he closed the flesh in its place. And Hashem God built the side that he had taken from the man into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And the man said, "This time it is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This shall be called woman, for from man was she taken. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and cling to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. They were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed."
Let's look at the Rashi here in Pasuk 19. Let's review Pasuk 19 and then look at the Rashi again.
Okay.
Where in Tazria,
No, Bereshis.
Bereshis.
Bereshis, chapter 2,
Mhm.
pasuk 19.
Now I should have found
So it says, and Hashem God formed out of the ground every beast of the field and every bird of the sky, and brought them to the man to see what he would call each one, and whatever the man would call to a living soul is its name. So Rashi says, and Hashem God formed out of the ground. Forming is the same as making, which has been stated above in the verse, God made the beast of the earth, etc. But our verse came and explained that the birds were created from the mud as follows. Since it said above that they were created from the water, and here it says that they were created from the dust of the ground. And furthermore, it has taught you here that at the time of their forming, immediately on that day, God brought them to the man to name them. In the words of the Agada, this instance of the root yatsar is an expression of dominating and subduing, like tatsur, in when you will lay siege to a city. Shekevashan, for he subdued the beasts and the birds under the hand of man. Whatever the man would call to a living soul is its name. Invert the verse and explain it as follows. Any living soul to which man would give a name, that name is its name forever.
Okay, so we see that as the Rashi by us in Tazria is mentioning the name of Simloi, so that's reflecting what this pasuk here also says, that everything was first created from the Adama, and then once everything had been created, they were brought to Adam in a finished fashion to be given names by Adam. So Adam was a populated world, a world that was populated by the birds, the animals, the fish, the flora, plants. And there's a connection between Adam being created and his giving them to the as the pasuk says, gave it they called the names to the behem and the oif, behem and the oif, the kol chayas asada, and all the chayas asada. There's one other pasuk here. 1 second. One second. Let's go to pasuk. All right, there's a lot of Rashi here. It's pasuk in the Perek Aleph.
You're talking about Bereshis now?
Yeah, right. Bereshis. That would be in pasuk Chav Vav. Let's see the pasuk Chav Vav.
In Aleph, Kof,
26.
And God said, let us make man in our image, as our likeness. They shall rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and over the animal, the whole earth, and every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. And God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them.
Okay. Right, and back. Okay, good. And back up one more pasuk in Chapei 25 as well.
Okay, God made the beast of the earth according to its kind, and the animal according to its kind, and every creeping being of the ground according to its kind. God saw that it was good.
Okay. Right. Okay, Rashi on pasuk 26, but I don't want to. I'm not sure I want to do all the Rashis there. 1 second. Nasa Adam. You see where the Rashi says Nasa Adam?
Yes, let us make man. The humility of the Holy One, blessed is he, we have learned from here. Since man is in the likeness of the angels, and they would be jealous of him, for this reason, he consulted them. And when he judges the kings, he consults his retinue. For so we have found regarding Ahav, king of Israel, that the prophet Micah said to him, I have seen Hashem sitting upon his throne with the entire host of the heavens standing next to him at his right and at his left. Now, are there right and left before him? But the verse means that these members of the heavenly host tend to the right, arguing for innocence, and these tend to the left, arguing for guilt.
Arguing for what?
Guilt.
Guilt.
So the ones on the left, on the right, are arguing for innocence, and the ones on the left are arguing for guilt. They're like defense attorneys and prosecuting attorneys.
Right.
Similarly, we find this idea in the verse, by the decree of angels is the word, and by the statement of holy ones is the edict. Here too, he consulted his retinue and took permission from them. He said to them, there exist in the higher spheres beings in my likeness, i.e., angels. If there are not beings in my likeness in the lower spheres too, see now that there will be jealousy in the creation. I'm not following.
Okay, so the question is like the question that when the Torah is describing the creation of man, it was his Nasa Adam, right? So Rashi says, first of all, it says, we learn the humility, we learn the humility of a Kadosh Baruch Hu from here. So Rashi has to explain this whole situation, that since Adam is in the demus of the Malachim, Adam is in some way similar to the form of Malachim, whatever that exactly means. Malachim.
I thought Adam was in the form of Hashem.
By the Malachim?
The pasuk says Kedimusenu, right? So that's plural, right? That's plural. So there are different ways to understand what it means.
Our likeness, our image.
Right.
I see. And he's talking to the angels according to Rashi. So it's so the angels and man are both in the image of Hashem.
Yeah, they have some quality, whatever it is exactly. It's beyond. I don't know very much about those things at all. But they have some quality which is in some way similar to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Like as I once explained, remember with Salmenu, the word sel, right? Salmenu, the word of Salmenu contains the word sail, right? Sail. What's sail? Sail is a shadow, right?
Right.
Shadow, as I explained once before, that a shadow, if you put out in your hand into a light, and you see a shadow of your hand, so if you put out one finger, right, so the shadow shows one finger. You put out two fingers, it shows two. You put out all your fingers, it shows 5 fingers, right?
Right.
Now, the shadow, there's very little, there's very extremely little what the shadow has in common with the hand, right? Or any shadow of anything. It's simply a blockage of the light that's been cast on the surface, but it has nothing to do essentially with the object that it's a shadow of, right? It's related in some remote way to the object which it's a shadow of, but it shares very little, if any, characteristics of the actual object, right?
Right.
So in the same way, when we say Salmenu, that we're with Selim Elikim, so in the same way, we're like a shadow of some sort of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Again, Kadosh Baruch Hu is completely non-physical. If this is something non-physical, can't really have a shadow. But in the same way that a shadow indicates some the objects it's a shadow of, so both the Malachim and Adam have some indication of what a Kadosh Baruch Hu is, okay? In some very, very remote way, right?
Right.
So Rashi's explaining here that the Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak, consulted with the Malachim, right? Because since Adam is in a form of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and the Malachim are in some type of a form of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, so it was necessary that just as that there were Malachim in the upper worlds, there should be Adam in the lower world to correspond to them.
Right.
So certain aspects of what the Malachim were or are also present in what Adam is, and that's how Kadosh Baruch Hu created Adam. So Kadosh Baruch Hu did this specifically with Adam. This is one of the points I want to bring out here. The Kadosh Baruch Hu did this specifically with Adam. Right? Adam's creation was specifically last. That's how that Rashi that we began with this morning. That Rashi was pointing out that just like the laws of the Adam come last after the laws of the purity and impurity of the animals, right? That's parallel to the creation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made in the creation of Adam. And now the Malachim were created earlier on Isab Reshis, and all the animals were created also on the sixth day. Adam was created in the sixth day, and many of the animals were created in the sixth day as well. But all the animals, all the birds, all the fish, everything like that was created before Adam's creation. And when finally came time for Adam to be created, there was as the pasuk, as Rashi is indicating over here, there was some type of consultation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made with the rest of creation in the creation of man. That the creation of man is a sum total of the whole of creation itself. That Adam contains aspects of all the previous things which were created in the Maisa of creation, and in order to do that, it was necessary that Adam was created last. That I'll use an example. You have a wedding, right? You have a wedding, right? So usually the chassan and the kala are amongst the last of the people to come into the chasana, right? All the people that set up, everything has to set up. Everyone is doing all the work. The photographers, everything. It's all the food, everything and the band, all those things, all the peripheral aspects of the chasana are there already ready in place when the chassan and kala already arrive at the time of the chasana. Likewise, the Adam B'chava, right? The whole world, the whole universe was created, and that they should be, so to speak, the primary guests in the universe that the Kadosh Baruch created. But it was more than that. As this Rashi and Breshis points out, that there was a necessity that Adam be created in a way that everything else was there, because as this pasuk says that Adam was brought all the creations, he was giving them names as they were brought to him, and they were passing, so to speak, in review. And then finally, when there was no, because that's what it says here, the whole, if you look again in Bereshis, in that pasuk, that was a pasuk that was in base, pasuk base, parak base. Right. Yeah, parak base pasuk chaf, right? Parak base pasuk chaf. Yikra Adam, yeah, 20. Yikra Adam shemus t'kol habeim ba'ois u'shamayim v'ochayas asada. Right, and Adam called and gave names to all the animals and the birds of the of the heavens and all the creatures of the field. But Adam lo matza ezer kenegdo. Right, and Adam did not find an ezer kenegdo. Right. So once Adam had recognized all the various different creatures Hashem created before him, and he had not yet found an ezer kenegdo, right? So then that's where Kadosh Baruch Hu now initiates the creation of Chava, right? That Adam should have the ezer kenegdo.
Right.
And so now, go back to our pasuk in Vayikra. Go back to our pasuk in Vayikra.
Okay.
I'm at Surah over here. She might by Tazria.
That's pasuk 12, chapter 12, pasuk
Base, pasuk base, right?
right.
Right. It says the Bira B'nai Yisrael Lemor Isha Kazria Rial de Zachar V'Tamei Shibis Yamim Kimei Nidasa No Ma. One should be Tamei. That's something else, right? So of the law of when a woman is going to give birth, right? The connection between this pasuk and the psukim that we've been learning and spending time on Bereshis is not simply the sequence of the creation of Adam after the creation of all the other creatures in the world. That's what Rashi says, right? That's the Pashut understanding which Rashi is saying. Just like all the other creatures were created before Adam and Maisa Bereshis, so likewise, when it comes time to discuss the laws of animals, they come first, and the laws of Adam come last. But this is a specific law that's irrelevant to the giving birth of a woman giving birth. And the pasuk there, which is describing Adam's review of all those things were created before him, had to do with the seeking the seeking of an Ezer Kenegdo. And the purpose of the Ezer Kenegdo, as we very well know and understand, is that there should be procreation, populating the world. Right? So the giving of the law of the Tumah and the Tahara of Adam comes after all the laws of the animal. This particular law is what's singled out to explain this particular point, because this was the purpose of everything being created beforehand. Everything being created beforehand was in order that Adam should realize that he needs an Ezer Kenegdo. He didn't find an Ezer Kenegdo, right?
Right.
Once Adam realized they didn't have a do, right? So then it was now appropriate time for Kadosh Baruch Hu to create Chava, and Adam would realize that now this is, meaning Kadosh Baruch Hu is now, it's basically like this. Kadosh Baruch Hu said, okay, Adam, take a look. Look out, look at the whole universe. Find something that you're going to be able to relate to. Go find a friend. Go find a friend in all of creation. Well, he saw a pelican. Didn't really have a great conversation with a pelican. Right? He found a cockroach. Didn't really, he wasn't really too impressed with the cockroach. He found a seal. Very nice, but they didn't have much in common. He went through everything, the whole of creation, and he just didn't find an Ezer Kenegdo. So I said, okay, so now you realize that you don't have an Ezer Kenegdo. Adam says, yeah, I don't have an Ezer Kenegdo. I say, okay, so watch this, right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets to work, right? And later after that, Chava comes into the world, and now Adam realizes, oh, this is my Ezer Kenegdo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was right. This is my Ezer Kenegdo. And what's the purpose of that? The purpose of that, as we well know, is that they should have children, right? So in the same way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to make it clear that Chava was the one and only choice for Adam Rishon to be successful within his purpose in life, right? Likewise, when it comes to listing those laws which are relevant to the end product of that union of the Ezer Kenegdo with Adam, right? Adam and Chava, the giving birth of a child, right? So those laws also are brought specifically after the laws of the rest of the animals and birds and creations, which were also created all before Adam was created. So it's a parallelism. There are two separate parallelisms here. I'll just so you can have it in the summary form as you asked for in the beginning. There are two parallelisms here. Okay, the parallelism is there's a parallelism between the pasuk, this Rashi, which we're discussing now in Parsha Tazria, right? The parallelism between the sequencing of the giving of the laws, and there's a parallelism between the sequencing of the creation of Adam in relation to the previous creations of the rest of the creations of the world. Right. And these two parallel sequencing, they're interrelated. It's not simply the sequencing in terms of its timeline, but it's also in terms of its understanding of the purpose of everything. Just like Adam Rishon, by his being created last, had a better appreciation for the purpose of everything, that he needs an Ezer Kenegdo, and the Ezer Kenegdo is there to help him bring life and bring more people into the world to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Likewise, the underlying law which we're dealing with is the law of a woman giving birth, and the status that she acquires when she gives birth, which is the end end product of the union that was there originally conceived by Adam and Chava when the Hakadosh Baruch Hu created them, specially at the end of the whole sequence of creation. So that's something to think about, and I guess that takes us that's about the end of our time, I guess. So, Shem.
I just want to point out something. There's nothing really to do with what we're learning, except that Hashem named the stars and all the constellations and that, and Adam, so forth. So there was a separation between Shemayim and Eretz.
Right.
Hashem points out that you can have this is your territory, but this is mine.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You have to Hakadosh Baruch Hu wants Adam to be so to speak, in charge of this world. He wants Adam to do things in a way that is going to be positive for the outcome of the existence of this world. But only in this world. In the higher worlds, as you said, that's Hakadosh Baruch Hu's business, correct?
Right.
Very good.
Lou,
Yes.
I'll probably be a bit later in to Rabbi Levitt. I'm not too sure, but just keep an eye out for me, please.
All right, I will. Mitzvah Hashem.
All right, thank you very much, Rabbi Furst. Chodesh Tov and Chodesh Tov to Klal Yisrael.
Amen. Veshem. Kodesh to everyone as well.
So on Sunday, Rabbi will be starting at 9 o'clock, correct?
Yeah, we'll go back to our regular schedule. Yeah.
Okay, and then in Mitzvah Hashem, I guess Sunday afternoon, maybe we'll learn together.
Yeah, we'll try and put some in it. And I guess we'll be picking up with Pirkei Avos in the first year. We'll be continuing Pirkei Avos. I have to see exactly where we left off, more or less.
Right.
See if I can pinpoint where we more or less left off.
Thank you. Bye.
Be well.
All right. Have a great day. Good
You too.
Shabbos.
All right. Bye.
And good